one of the problems that S1000RR owners have, if they're going to, go to track days and they're going to be responsible for taking off their front wheels and lifting the front end of the bike off the ground, is that it's very difficult to fit one of these race stands that lifts the front wheel through the underneath of the triple clamp or through the steering head. And because of the way the brakes are configured, it blocks the hole and it's very difficult to attach that. So they tend to resort to those under the fork type front wheel stands, which are dangerous in some ways, in that if you take the front wheel out and the calipers turn or the forks twist or something like that while there's no wheel in there, then you increase the likelihood of the bike falling. And the more robust way and the safest way to do it is to use these stands, race stands that go through the center of the fork. Now in this video I want to show you a quick solution to the problem, in that the way the front brake lines are configured, you can't actually attach this particular stand until you do something with that. So here's a temporary solution to get us through a track day or something like that. The ultimate solution is when you replace the front brake lines completely and you go from the front master cylinder down to the calipers directly. And that's the solution we're going to be seeking on this bike anyway, but here's a temporary solution. Take a look. Yeah, so this is the standard configuration for the S1000RR from the factory, 2015 model onwards, where the fluid from the master cylinder comes to the calipers in the front via a steel tube that is mounted in the frame. It comes back out via a flexible tube to a splitter here, and this splitter distributes the fluid through these lines to the front calipers. But the problem is that splitter is mounted right here under the center of the steering head. So if you want to use the front wheel stand that slides into the steering head here, you can't get it in there because it's blocked. So what we need to do is separate the ABS cable here from these lines, because they're kind of tied together with cable ties. So we've got to separate that so we can pull it apart, and then move this one side of the other so that we've got clear access to that yoke. So what I'm going to do is cut those cable ties, pull it apart, unscrew this with a one of those star drivers, and then move it to the side and remount it. So that's going to be the strategy. So what we've actually settled for here as a temporary arrangement is where we've removed the bolt that holds the splitter underneath the bottom triple clamp, and we've simply replaced it with just a stud, so it kind of locates this, and this sits loose because there's upward pressure on this type of thing. Now, we've done a bit of running around here and on the road, under different conditions, and we found that it's really not a problem at all, because even if this did come off, where's it going to go? It's just basically going to sit exactly where it needs to sit. Now, one of the reasons for us not putting it out here at some of these different extremities, mounting it there or here, the way it's made in the current format, is to avoid the situation where you've got it pulled one direction or the other, and you start to get rubbing, you start to get tension on it when you're under full acceleration or the front wheel's off the ground. So the intent here was to not compromise the actual brake lines themselves in any way. So we found that to be a pretty useful temporary situation or solution until we get our full race cables, race brake lines. Now all we simply do is we want to put the stand to lift underneath the bottom triple clamp. The steering head is just simply pull that off, push it to the side, and then we put in our race stand. So that's it. So there you have it, nice simple solution, a temporary one albeit, to the problem of fitting this type of race stand at the front end of the BMW S1000RR.